Melda have released PowerBrass, a new premium instrument for MSoundFactory, free for MSoundFactory and MSoundFactory LE owners. PowerBrass is a brass ensemble that should fit well into many different styles, from pop productions to more classical or cinematic music. Alright, this is PowerBrass. As you can see from the design, this is very similar to Power Strings, but now with a brass ensemble. First up, you might notice the buttons for different articulations up here, but compared to Power Strings, this isn't just different articulations of the same instrument, this is actually samples of different instruments of a brass ensemble. First up, we have all the samples at the same time. Then just the tubas. Just French horns. Trombones. Trumpets, and also mixed, which we'll look at later on. You don't only have these articulations though, you can combine them with sustain, legato, and staccato. Sustain is the one we just heard. Legato is for monophonic lines. This one has some features like note transitions that make melodic lines more convincing than with the sustain articulation. And staccato. Next up, we have these big kind of macro style controls. First up, stage spread, which is pretty intuitive. In the middle, you don't have a clear separation of where which instrument is coming from. It's just kind of in the middle, slightly stereo. And if we turn it up, you can kind of hear that some instruments sound like they're coming more from the right or from the left. And we can also turn that around with the negative values. Next up, pianoforte, you can play very soft notes. Or very loud and bright notes. And this is also mapped to the mod wheel by default. And you can adjust with this little MW wheel how much effect the mod wheel is going to have. Dark and bright. And humanize is pretty subtle. If you turn it all the way off, listen to a single note. You can hear kind of how straight this sound is, no movement at all. And if you turn it up, you can hear some tiny micro movements going on. And on this intro page, you also have the ability to stack some notes above or underneath the ones you're playing, like an octave down, or one up, to get really big stacks very easily. Of course, you can adjust which notes are played exactly. Let's move on to the Articulations tab. As I hinted at, there's one more articulation I haven't talked about yet. That's the mixed one. The mixed one sounds pretty similar to the all brass one. Let's have a listen. All brass. But as you can see, all brass actually activates all other articulations compared to mixed, which just plays this articulation. If we take that out of all brass, you can kind of hear that this is kind of a combination of all the other sounds that is used to fill out the full all brass patch a bit more. So you can see that we can adjust all these different sample sets of the different key switches. We can fine-tune the attack. Also the attack curve. And after that follows more parameters of an ADH SR envelope, so with a hold stage and even with adjustment for the decay curve, so it can get pretty detailed. If you go all the way down on your keyboard, you will notice that you can access these different articulations through key switches. And keep in mind, this is actually below the lowest note of an 88 key keyboard. The lowest note will sound like this. And an octave lower, where you have the key switches. C for all brass, C sharp for tubas, D for French horns, D sharp for trombones, E for trumpets, F for mixed, and G, G sharp, and A switch between sustain, legato, and staccato. For example, first a C, then an F sharp, and you have all brass legato. And you can switch the instrument, and like the sub articulation, sustain, legato, staccato will stay the same, or you can just switch sustain, staccato, legato, and the instrument will stay the same. And as you can see with the legato articulations, you have control over the crossfade and the bend. This isn't all though. You also have some creative sound design effects as well as some more traditional effects. Let's check out the creative tab. You can layer the brass with Synth Brass. Let's deactivate all of these sounds for a minute. Now we just hear the Synth Brass. Adjust the filter. There's even different sounds of the Synth Brass. That's cool. We can put this one an octave lower. Layer in some trumpets. This is so much fun. What else? There's Convolution. There's FM. And now I'm just sound designing the synth, because in this register right here, we actually don't have any trumpet samples, but maybe we can layer in some of the trombones. And there's also diffusion. You can hear that in the top end. That's cool. These are the creative effects. And now for the more traditional effects, like motion. Which can be different things like random pitch or like a rotary speaker nearly. Distortion. Chorus. Modulation like a flanger or phaser. A Lofi effect. There's digital and analog variation of the Lofi effect. Like this, you can even get kind of Mellotron style sounds. And then there's reverb, delay, and an equalizer. And these are the same great reverbs as you get in all other Melda plugins. And then the final tab you get with this instrument is the Globals tab. You get this in every instrument. Here you can adjust things like volume, velocity range. You can tweak the velocity response and pitch bend range. And you can also enable MPE controls. And I have this new MIDI controller with Polyphonic Aftertouch. So let's give that one a go. We can just turn up this use pressure knob. And then depending on the DAW you have, this just works. Let's lock this value and check out a different preset. If you lock these things, like I usually lock my pitch bend range to 2 and my volume a bit lower than usually, and now I just locked use pressure, no matter if you randomize or select a different presets, these values will stay the same because they're locked. That's a very nice preset called Soft Memories, but I would love some more reverb. You can get PowerBrass now for $10 during the introductory discount, or you can access it during a 14-day free trial of MSoundFactory. I have been Sylvan from the channel Santu's Sound Factory. Thanks very much to Melda for having me. See you again soon.